Hello and welcome. This is the Fit for Privacy Podcast, the podcast for professionals. I'm your host Punit Bhatia. In this podcast, we talk to influencers so that you get to listen and learn from their experiences and thoughts. Remember, this is not legal advice, and if you need one, please contact a professional with your situation. So let's get started. Hello and welcome. Today we have a very special guest, Iva Tasheva. You are a cybersecurity expert, you are a privacy expert, you are a policy expert. What all do you do?
Well, this is a complicated question, right? Privacy, security, those are complicated
Right.
issues. So I help my clients understand what is at stake, why do we need privacy, why do we need security, and how to get there.
That's very interesting. So I'm sure you'll have interesting insights for our audiences. Let me start with a very quick, some easy and let's say get each other comfortable questions.
Sure.
What's one thing you love about privacy?
I love about privacy that it's everybody's business, right? It's yes, it's my problem. It's my personal problem. Everyone has an opinion on it.
Right.
And now it's also a regulated area.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of intersection between society,
Mhm.
how do we think,
Yeah,
but also how do we act on a daily basis.
interesting. And is there something you hate about privacy?
I hate the legal part. I come from management, so for me it's about common sense. It's about rules that we follow.
Yeah.
So sometimes we tend to be too descriptive.
Mhm.
But you help your clients addressing this issue, the legal part. Maybe you could share a little bit from your experience.
So from my perspective, I simplify the law
Mhm.
because in the law, people tend to get lost into this, that, permutations and combination, and I help them simplify, saying
Exactly.
these are the 2, 3, 4 options.
Yes.
These are the consequences, and you choose where and how you need to do your business. So I'm
Yes.
never like you can't do it. It's always about
Exactly.
these are the consequences of doing this or that.
Yes, I perfectly agree with you. This is what I do also for cybersecurity, so it's a good approach and it works.
Yeah, we need to make it simple and manageable for our clients.
Exactly. Yeah.
Indeed. And now, maybe a question which is not related to privacy or security,
Mm-hmm.
but if you were to choose something between time, money, and fitness,
Yes.
what would you choose?
This is a good question, right? We trade every day.
Of course, we trade every day.
We trade every day, but I would definitely go for fitness. Why? Because I think with fitness,
Mhm.
if you're fit,
Yeah.
you could save your money and you could also be more efficient in spare time.
That makes sense. Health is everything.
Exactly, and fitness, regulatory fitness.
Regulatory fitness, of course. The name of our podcast is Fit for Privacy. So fit regulatory, fit legal, fit as a person, fit as a mind, and fit as an organization.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're again on the same page, Punit. We need to show some dialogue, some conflict. Yeah.
We'll get to that.
We'll get
it's
there.
just a start.
Okay.
We're getting
warming up.
Yes, and if I may ask, one thing as a privacy and cybersecurity expert that keeps you up at night?
Well, one thing is a big thing actually. There is no perfect security and there's no perfect privacy, right? So
we do our best. We take a risk-based approach. We mitigate risks, and then
exactly
we have to hope for the best also along with it.
Exactly. Yeah. Security especially is one area where there is so much uncertainty and you could wake up in a totally different world. So this is an important objective to keep up and to know what to expect, prepare, keep fit.
Keep fit, absolutely. So keeping fit, regulatory and legal is keeping sometimes us at night. That's true.
And
yeah.
I was thinking we're also paid to do that for our clients.
That's the best thing. We like it, we are an expert and we are paid for it. What more can
to worry about it.
What more can we ask? So Let's move to the little bit on the compliance side or the GDPR technical aspects or privacy technical aspect, maybe security also. So when you work with small and medium clients, of course, large clients, they have the budgets, they have the means to get compliance in order. Is there a feeling, or sometimes we hear that it's anti-marketing, this e-privacy directive or this GDPR or these new laws that are getting passed?
Yes.
Do you also see like that, or what advice do you give them when they say it's anti-marketing?
Well, especially in Europe, I see many small businesses building their whole marketing strategy around the GDPR, about being the secure, being privacy inclusive and respectful companies. So in that sense, I think it's the perfect marketing tool for the small players, which want to compete with the big ones, with the big data. Yes.
That's interesting. And how do you differentiate, or how do you see privacy and security intersection? Because some people say privacy is important, some say security is important, and most say that both are important and both go hand in hand. But how do you see it?
This is a great point, Punit, actually. To me, I see them as, often we say, the same, two sides of the same coin.
Right.
So you want to have privacy if you don't have security.
Yes.
Obviously, security stands for protecting the information as well, the confidentiality of information, which is also at the heart of privacy. In that sense, you need both if you want to achieve any.
That's a very good quote. There's no privacy without security. That's what you said.
Yes.
I think we should leverage on that more in our conversations with clients. That's a very good one. There's no privacy without security.
Yes, this is very important aspect also in terms of GDPR. So obviously you have to implement your measures to guarantee that you protect the data of your clients.
It's all about accountability. And another question I may ask, given your strong background in diverse things and especially e-privacy field, e-privacy directive or the regulation whenever it comes along. So people often get confused between e-privacy regulation or directive and GDPR, and it's not easy for many even experts to differentiate. And how do you see them?
So let's present it in that way. You have the big regulation which protects your data, your personal data. This is the GDPR. E-privacy comes to complement this one, to also specifically address issues linked to electronic communications. It is in a way complementing GDPR, specifically for, let's say, messaging apps or electronic communications. In the future, it would be also the data between your car and the manufacturer, for instance. So these also need to be regulated.
So if I may rephrase, so GDPR is about personal data.
Yes.
And then e-privacy directive takes a little bit broader scope in function of communications, so personal and non-personal data, and defines the guidance rules on how to have those communications going.
Yes, it's more specific for this use case.
The communications use case.
Yes, the communications use case.
Interesting. And it's not easy for people to understand when we have GDPR and consent and cookies and everything. Why do we need e-privacy directive or regulation? In fact, EU also asked that question in their review.
It is a big discussion, right?
Yeah, it is.
I don't have the answer.
Nobody has the answer.
I'm sorry, we need to keep on discussing
we will keep
how
on.
It would actually, what is exactly the role and how we could deliver
Absolutely.
objectives.
Yeah. And when you work with small or medium businesses, and when you work with large corporates, there's a difference in approach. The large corporates usually tend to define their own policy, have a very governance or strong risk-focused approach to compliance. While the small and medium businesses do not have the means, do not have the bandwidth to do all these things. So what kind of differences do you see when you compare privacy or security implementation or cybersecurity compliance between small, medium, and the large companies?
Yes, this is a very interesting question that actually just today I discussed with somebody at the conference. So in big corporations, you have so much about governance.
Right.
So you already have a set governance, you have the roles, responsibilities,
right,
to be able to also implement the requirements and the obligations that come from security and privacy.
Yes.
You need to add this part to your existing governance structure and management. And once you have placed well the DPO, Data Protection Officer, and the Chief Information Security Officer, once you have created the processes for communication, for exchange, for setting principles, then things go well. But this is the challenging part, to set the roles and the processes.
Right.
In small organization, when people play all the roles, in that sense, they have all the information and they could act upon much faster. Yes.
And then these people in small companies, they usually do not have a very good understanding of privacy or cybersecurity.
This is a problem. Yes. I think this is a big challenge because, as you know, you have to follow all the time. You have to have legal background to understand GDPR. You have to have security background to know what are the best practices, but also to follow what is happening. It's a dynamic field. In that sense, it's very, very challenging for young startups, entrepreneurs, which need to quickly manage the business, HR, sales, and privacy and security.
Indeed. It's quite challenging, and I think one of the things that people like you and me look for is we are able to assist them without being there full time, or being on need basis, or whatever help they need whenever they need.
Yes, I think your role it's more and more demanded. So maybe you could share a little bit more with the audience, so they know how exactly you help currently your clients. But I think more and more we would have these consulting roles where companies could not or should not lock down talent because it's the talent. There's a huge gap in this field.
Absolutely. With the large companies, it's not a challenge. I help privacy professionals with advice and coaching. But with the small and medium enterprises, I work with the business owners as an advisor and a coach to guide them on. So one, we do a 2 or 3 day privacy training with them so that they're up to speed. And then on need basis, I stay in touch with them. It's either as you need basis or kind of a subscription basis that we work together.
Exactly.
Because that's the right way, because they don't need a privacy person regularly, but they would need somebody whenever they have a question, whenever they're launching a new product, especially the digital marketing agencies and so on, who have small staff and they have a question every now and then.
Yes, exactly. It's leveraging the knowledge, right?
Absolutely, it's leveraging. And if I may ask you now more about the human factor of privacy, because we always talk about the legal compliance and risk. Those are big ticket items, of course. But then there's the human factor, because behind privacy, we are working for the humans to protect their data. And we are also humans while we are protecting others' data.
Yes.
And in that view, how do you see, especially, let me start with an easy one. We have privacy statements and cookie statements. We in privacy and cybersecurity know how important they are.
Yes.
But for our relatives, our friends, and or even our colleagues who are not privacy experts, for them it's just a matter of annoying click. Yes. How do you manage that?
I think that's again a great question. I think the person is in the center of everything we do in terms of, as you said, privacy and security. We don't do it just to have to say we're secure. We do it to protect the people.
Right.
So the person should be in the center of all these measures and policy, you have to understand how much people need in terms of privacy and in terms of security, and how much they're also ready to trade in terms of, we all know, for being more easy or like comfort, we would often click the box and give up all.
Do you read all of
our
them?
rights. I have to admit, sometimes I read, but again, here it comes the question of awareness. So you have to know what you're reading it for, what you're looking for, but also it comes to the question of trust.
Yes.
So if it's a trusted partner, you won't read the cookie statement, or you would trust the relationship and the value there is in continuing it.
I think trust and prioritization are key.
Exactly.
When there are large corporates, you either trust them or you don't, and then you look at it, and also you prioritize in function of what data you are giving them and what they do with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. And what do you see in your clients? Do you see more trust oriented or more defense oriented culture in
It's a mix. It's a mix. When we look at the banking, insurance, financial, pharma, or telecom, they tend to be more regulatory oriented. They tend to look at things from a governance and accountability perspective.
Yes.
Of course, trust is important everywhere.
Yes.
But their dimension is regulatory. While some of them, very few of them, start to look at it as a trust issue.
Yes.
And then trust is the driving factor. So everything they are doing, their motto is not privacy compliance, their motto is keeping the trust.
Yes.
But I think there's more focus on privacy and cookie compliance than on trust.
Yes.
Is that the same with your clientele also?
Yes, I think again the word is colorful, right? So you definitely see all cases.
Yeah. Okay. And when we talk about privacy and when we work with clients, what's the biggest challenge you see for small and medium businesses? So businesses who cannot actually or do not actually need a full-time DPO or a privacy professional, but they do need privacy-related compliance. So what's the biggest challenge you see for them?
At least what I hear from partners, from clients, the biggest challenge is that from day one there was big ring about GDPR, so no one really knew what that means.
Right.
So we know, the principle, but how does that apply to my mailing list? How does that apply to my website? So all these practical questions, they were a big barrier to SMEs that they this was coming on top of their business priorities and managing business. So in the very beginning, it was all about, what is GDPR? What does that mean for me? I think companies are getting more mature, so they start to also manage the way they make their business decisions, taking privacy of their clients, their partners in mind. And this is something that you also mentioned earlier. When you have clients, you usually give them few options.
Absolutely.
So this is the management part where you feed privacy into your business strategy as well.
Absolutely. And I think that's the way to do it. Rather than avoid it, it's better to take it head on and do it.
Yeah, but you cannot avoid GDPR.
Yeah, that's what we think because we are in privacy and cybersecurity field.
Yes.
But there are still some businesses who are like, we'll see when somebody gets fined, it's for the big companies.
Have you also not run into these websites? I don't know if our viewers, they have also seen websites that after 2018 were showing, I'm sorry, in your region, we cannot provide the service because of GDPR. So this is the misunderstanding of the legislation. It's not a ban.
Yeah, I think I saw one news website, and if I remember one from America, won't name them. Just I think still saying we are not available in your region, or sometimes you're checking sports news and you want to watch a video. Of course, there are digital rights and so on, but they also use saying no, we cannot provide you in your region.
Yes. To you, is that management or failure?
I think it's a business decision. Like some of these US newspaper, 80 to 90% of their viewership is in US.
Okay.
So for the 5, 7, 10% viewership in EU, why would I invest such a huge money? But this would change because we see there's a New York is coming up with a privacy law. California has already. Washington is already, and I think there are more states which are thinking about having a law on privacy. And as it comes along, and as the maturity comes along, this will go away. It's at start a knee-jerk reaction saying why invest?
Yes.
And who cares 5% of our audience? And that they're right from a business standpoint.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. And now there's so much of information, and especially for you, because for me, I'm into privacy, so it's one field, but you're into privacy, cybersecurity, and policy, so you go left and right around these two as well.
Yes.
So how do you stay in touch and on top of the latest developments? Because every day there's a new law getting passed, every day there's a new guidance, and then there are news like this is fine, that's fine, this is happening, that's happening. How do you stay in touch with the latest?
Yes, it's very difficult. I think that's why it's very appreciated for me, especially. I keep my network of experts as well, policymakers, because most important to me is to hear what people have to say, how people see the issue, and by that you also manage to digest also the huge share of information. Podcast like yours, it is another way to disseminate, to leverage the discussion we would normally have, and help other people understand what is our perspective, what is our experience, and then digest the information faster.
Absolutely. I think when I started this podcast, I wanted to listen to some podcasts on privacy, so and then I didn't find too many. And there are a few very good ones, but most of them are not so good ones, or let me not say not good ones. I think there's a mix of variety that's available, and I believe with this one we are offering audiences another perspective.
Exactly. I think there's so many different aspects to cover. There's so many case studies, there's so many experiences out there. So to really have the view, to be able to find also a balanced view, right?
Yes.
It's important to have this diversity of views out there in the public domain.
And I think the challenge with these laws, the cybersecurity laws, the privacy laws, the E012 privacy regulation, when it comes, or even with the directive, is there are so many interpretations, there's so many versions of that same language which is written in the law, that it's amazing, it's fascinating to see so many versions of it. And when we talk, and that's what, when we talk to others, we learn how it can be interpreted differently, and sometimes we fine tune our own understanding.
Yes, our profession is an art, right? It's not a science, so
good. You make a law art. Yes,
you have to be an artist to understand.
Right. I think there's a fair bit of art involved in understanding and interpreting the law.
Exactly, because again, there's so much happening. You could not just take each line and apply it to each situation. It wouldn't work. It won't. You need the art, and you have to be inspired as well, right?
Yeah, and especially in your and also my job, when we work with different industries, when you are working with pharma, it's different perspective. Digital marketing, it's different. Retail, it's different. Real estate, it's different. So it's a huge variety. Exactly. And that's where the art comes along.
Yes, but again, this is a very, very big challenge for policymakers too. There is a need to regulate, there's need to legislate, but where do you start from? And how do you make it neutral?
Okay, so it was great having you, but if I may ask before we end, one key message that you would like to pass audiences in terms of cybersecurity, privacy, compliance, what would that be?
Am I allowed to repeat myself?
Of course.
Because I
You
believe this is especially for those of you in the privacy field. You please take this one advice from me. Look into security. There is no privacy without security.
That's very interesting. That's the key takeaway from today. There's no privacy without security. Both go hand in hand. And as you
Exactly.
said, they are two parts of the same coin. So thanks, Iva. It
Thank
was
you,
great
Punit.
having you.
Yes, it was my pleasure.
It was a pleasure, and I look forward to you guys, the audiences. What do you think about this conversation, and what more would you like to know about Fit for Privacy? So thanks for tuning in. Stay blessed, and see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you liked this effort. Please do click like, comment, and share. It is okay if you did not like it. Please still do make a comment and share with us what we can improve. If you have suggestions, ideas for guests, or you want to have your question answered, please email me. My email is info@punitbhatia.com. You can also share this with others, and if you do so while tagging me in, I will personally thank and acknowledge your contribution in coming episodes. Thanks once more, and look forward to seeing you back. Till then, stay safe, stay blessed, and stay happy.